Fade in. Interior royal bedchamber, Castle Elsher, night. It's the late 17th century in a land that never was. King John, 68, of Elegon, sleeps in his bed in his richly appointed bedchamber next to his wife, Queen Anna, 32. It's very quiet and dark, the only light starlight coming in through the windows and the full moon. A little girl, 5, enters via the doorway to the balcony. She's bathed in a vague glow. She giggles and comes over to stand next to the bed on John's side. She reaches over and boops him on the nose and giggles. Then she does it again. John begins to stir. Finally, he opens his eyes and sees the child. He sits up abruptly as the child exits, running back through the doorway onto the balcony. The queen does not stir. John shrugs into his robe and follows the child. Exterior, balcony to the royal bedchamber, Castle Elsher, night. The balcony is fairly large, and there is no sign of the child. Instead, there is Mora, 24, female, tall and regal. She's glowing a bit more brightly than the child. John stops to stare at her a moment and then approaches her. Mora. Greetings, John, or should I say Your Majesty now? John. In your case, John will do. What brings you to visit me? Mora. Can I not come by to visit an old friend? John. Can a man be friends with a Finn? Mora. That would depend upon the meaning of the word friend. Perhaps it has different shadings for us. John. Perhaps. Mora. I always find men's rules, rituals, and behaviors so puzzling. I suppose I should offer congratulations on your becoming king of Elegon. Isn't that what this country of yours is called? John. Yes, and while I became king many years ago, while I appreciate the congratulations, they are not necessary. Mora. Very well. I'm here to honor the promise I made to you all that time ago by your reckoning. John. You have a warning for me? Mora. Yes. I think you would consider it a warning. I would think of it as an opportunity. John. Really? Mora. Yes. That's what most warnings are they not? John. What is it? Mora. You've received word that Charles, King of Lennox, has died? John. Yes, it came tonight. Mora. Which of your sons are you sending to the funeral? John. That's why you're here? I think you'd be more concerned about the war with Winland coming to an end. I'm going to begin negotiations with Marcus tomorrow after kicking his arse all over the battlefield at Hastings today. Mora. I care nothing about your wars. You kill your own kind by the thousands for the slightest cause, or for no cause at all. John. This war's been going on for years. It cost my eldest son his life, among thousands of others. It's finally ending. Isn't that important? Mora. I suppose. John. But the funeral of a grouchy old man who's been dying for years is more important? Mora. Isn't Lennox an old ally of Elegon? Didn't many men from Lennox also perish in this war of yours, fighting alongside your own? John. Yes. Mora. So, answer the question. Which of your sons will you send to the funeral? John. I suppose I'll be sending Philip. I think it's only appropriate to send the crown prince. Mora. I see. John. Why? Is that a problem? Mora. Who would you send if not Philip? John. Not Horace. He is to serve as a regent while I'm away. Not Thomas. That would be a bad idea for a number of embarrassing reasons. That only leaves Mora. Willard. Yes. John. Lennox would be insulted if I sent Willard. This is not some minor official or some unimportant ceremony. This is the funeral of the sovereign of our neighbor and ally. Mora. If you insist. John. So you're saying I should send Willard instead of Philip? Mora. That is for you to say. I'm merely letting you know that this is not as unimportant a decision as you may believe. John. How so? Mora. Here is what guidance I can offer you, John, from my limited experience in the world of men. Where my kind see strength, you see weakness. Where we see weakness, you see strength. Which of us is the wiser? John. I see. I think. No, I don't. Wait. This makes no sense, Mora. What are you saying I should do? Mora. I'm saying you should send the strongest to this funeral. John. Willard? Are you saying Willard is stronger than Philip? Mora. It would depend on how you define strength. John. You would not have come here to warn me if sending Philip was what I should do, yes? Because that was what I was planning to do anyway. Mora. Possibly. I'm just telling you that you will want to give this decision more careful consideration than you have. John. Damn it. Finns speak in riddles. Can't you speak more plainly? Mora. That is all I can tell you. Good night, John. It was good to see you. John. Thank you, Mora, for your appreciated, albeit confusing, advice. Will I see you again? Mora. No. She begins glowing, brighter and brighter. Then the light dims quickly and she vanishes. John turns and heads back inside. John muttering, damn, 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 damn. Exterior, battlefield after a battle, day. Day is breaking over the field littered with the dead and the dying. Corpsmen from both sides move among the casualties, helping those they can. Off to one side, brightly dressed heralds for both sides are talking quietly, their horses tethered nearby. Interior, Kingdom of Elegon tent, day. Sitting on the floor of the tent is Abraham Mosley, 40, a sergeant in service of Elegon. Nearby is Benjamin Tilley, 24, Abraham's corporal. Also nearby is Israel Biggs, 18. There are several other men in the tent, all of them soldiers. They're all filthy and exhausted. Their weapons, mostly swords and other blades, are nearby, as is their armor, mostly chainmail. Abraham. Damn, I'm starving. I hope they don't forget our morning biscuits. Biggs. How can you eat with that smell? Abraham. That smell is courage, my lad. Men who died bravely for their country. Benjamin. And you get used to it. Abraham. That too. The flap to the tent opens, and in strides the Duke of Hastings, 46, the commander of Elegon's forces in the field. All of the men in the tent leap to their feet and stand at attention. Hastings. As you were. The men relax. Sergeant Mosley, a word? Mosley goes over to Hastings, where they have a quiet conversation. Hastings. I just received a letter via courier from His Majesty. He needs 5 men to act as bodyguards for one of the royal family for a funeral. Abraham. Funeral? Whose, Your Grace? Hastings. King Charles. Lennox. Abraham. Ah, so the old bugger finally kicked off. Hastings. We'll have none of that, Sergeant. Abraham. I'm sorry, Your Grace. Hastings. Yes, the old gas bag has finally succumbed. Somebody has to go to the funeral, but with Winland now willing to discuss terms, His Majesty is going to be in negotiations, and his bodyguard will need to accompany him here when he arrives to meet with Winland's representatives. Abraham, what does this have to do with me? Hastings, I'm asking you to head this detail for me. You can pick 4 men. Lennox is an old ally, and most of the trip will be through friendly territory, so it shouldn't be too eventful. But we do need men we can count on, men who know their business with a sword to ride with the prince just in case. Abraham, which prince? Philip? Hastings, no. Abraham, please tell me it's not Hastings. Prince Willard. Abraham, saints preserve us. Hastings, Sergeant, you were referring to a member of the royal family and my nephew. Abraham, sorry, Your Grace. Hastings, I know you'd rather wait here while the negotiations are in progress, but we really don't need you. Winland has nothing left now. They couldn't muster an army if they tried. Think of it as a holiday. Abraham, Your Grace. Hastings puts a reassuring hand on Abraham's shoulder and favors him with a small smile. Sleep in a soft bed for a few nights. Eat some good food. Get the stench of death out of your nose and the blood out of your clothes. You deserve it. Abraham sighs. Yes, Your Grace. Hastings, pick good men who won't cause trouble. Understood? Abraham, understood, Your Grace. If you're sure I won't be needed here. Hastings, we'll be fine. I'll probably be home before you. Abraham, thank you, Your Grace. Hastings, good. I'm looking forward to getting a good report from the prince regarding your service. Abraham, you will, Your Grace. Hastings, good. Hastings exits and the men relax. Abraham, Ben? Benjamin, yes, sir. Abraham, don't you have family somewhere out Lorraine way? Benjamin, yes, sir. My sister and her husband have a farm there. Abraham, would you like to visit them? Benjamin, I'd love to, sir, but I don't see when I'll have the chance. Abraham, we've been given an errand that will take us by there. Perhaps you'll have time to drop in. Benjamin, really? What kind of errand? Abraham, one that shouldn't involve any swordplay or spilled blood for once. Now we need to pick 3 more. Interior, Willard's quarters, Castle Arden, day. It's morning, and the drapes are pulled tightly around the windows. In the big bed is Prince Willard, 26, with 2 young women. All of them are naked and passed out drunk. The room is a mess. Duchess Sarah, 38, enters, goes over to the windows, and rips open the curtains, admitting the bright morning sunlight. The 3 in the bed all utter pained cries. Sarah, rise and shine, my lovelies. Willard, my God, Aunt Sarah, have you no pity? Sarah, not the last time I checked. Put some clothes on, Will. Your uncle needs to speak with you. Willard, now? Sarah, yes, now. He's in the wardrobe. Will your friends be joining us for breakfast? One of the young women rolls over on the bed and vomits onto the floor. Sarah, I guess not. Interior, Duke Arden's wardrobe, Castle Arden, day. The wardrobe's a large room and is full of clothing for all occasions. Reginald, 45, Duke of Arden, is picking out Willard's clothing for the trip. He has a female servant, 20, helping. Reginald, he'll need something for the funeral itself, something formal and somber. The servant selects a shirt from a rack and holds it up. Reginald, I guess that will do. It looks like it'll fit him. Put it in. There's an open trunk on the floor, and she folds the shirt and puts it inside. Willard, now fully dressed, enters. Reginald, Ah, Will, glad you could join us. Could you give us a moment, my dear? Female servant. Of course, Your Grace. The servant leaves. Willard. What's going on? Reginald. A couple of things, actually. Wendland has sent a message to your father that Marcus wants to discuss terms. Willard. Excellent news. Reginald. Indeed it is. This awful bloody war is nearly over. But of more immediate import, Charles died day before yesterday. Willard. The old fart couldn't hold on any longer. Reginald. Yes. His Majesty wants you to go to Lennox to attend the funeral. Willard. What? Are you serious? Reginald. Yes. Is that a problem? Willard. A problem? Riding in a bumpy carriage for 2 days to sit in a drafty old church while some old mumbly mumbles his way through a eulogy so we can put the old relic in a hole in the ground? Do you have any idea how boring and uncomfortable that will be? Reginald. I know precisely how boring and uncomfortable it will be. I think you could use a little boredom and discomfort in your life right now. Willard. Uncle, Reginald. This is your father's doing, not mine. And I trust you will behave yourself and not embarrass the crown. Am I right? Willard. Well, Reginald. Am I right, Will? Willard. Fine. Yes, I'll be on my best behavior. But I'm expecting to be invited to a party celebrating the end of the war when I get back. Reginald. Of course. Willard. Though there is a little more to it. Reginald sighs wearily. Reginald. Who was she? Willard. Her name is Laura. Reginald. Would that be Lady Laura of Greensbury? Willard. The same. Reginald. Daughter of Harold? Willard. Yes. Reginald. Who is also about to be crowned King of Lennox? Willard. That's the very one. Reginald. When did this happen? Willard. It was about a year ago. Remember when Father signed that trade agreement with Lennox? She accompanied the Lennox delegation and I was staying at the palace. Reginald. I remember. Yes, she was there. Willard. Yes. Reginald. With her husband. Willard. He's 30 years older than her, Uncle Reggie. The old woman can't even get a decent... Reginald. Who is a trusted advisor to the soon-to-be king? That is remarkable how many different things you managed to cock up at the same time. Willard. Pardon the pun? Sorry, Uncle. Sorry. Willard looks in the trunk. Is that what you're picking for me to wear? Reginald. Yes. Willard holds up the shirt Reginald had just selected. Willard. Really? This? Reginald. What's wrong with it? Willard. What's wrong with it? Are you joking? No. He tosses it on the floor and starts looking through the clothes. He finds a beautiful scarf that he takes down and wraps around his neck. Willard. Now this is more like it. I bet there's some shirts and breeches in here that would really set this off. Reginald. No, not that. Reginald gently removes the scarf from Willard's neck. Willard. Why not? Reginald. It was Joseph's, his favorite. Willard. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Reginald. It's fine. I'd forgotten it was in here. Now, you run down to the kitchen and grab something to eat. Hugo's getting the carriage ready, and your bodyguard for the trip is waiting in the courtyard. Send the girl back in here, and we'll finish packing your luggage. And you will wear what we select, and you will not complain about it. Is that clear? Willard. Uncle, I think, Reginald, is that clear? Willard. Clear, Uncle. Reginald. And you will avoid the Lady Laura and her husband as much as possible, and if you do encounter them, you will not insinuate or flirt or whatever else may occur to you. Willard. Yes, Uncle. Reginald. In fact, whatever you feel like doing, do the opposite. Can't go wrong like that. Willard. Yes, Uncle. Reginald. There's a good lad. Now run along to breakfast and try not to get us into another war before we're done with the one we're fighting now. Willard leaves. Reginald holds the scarf, lifting one end of his nose and sniffing it and smiling. He has tears in his eyes. Exterior, courtyard, Castle Arden, day. Willard's carriage, hitched to its team of horses, is being loaded with the luggage by Willard's coachman, Hugo, 48. The bodyguard is there, each of them with their own horse. Along with Ben, Abraham, and Briggs are Hosea Welk, 20, and Isaac Lasher, 30. Hosea is helping Hugo wrestle the trunks into position atop the carriage. Hugo, I think that's almost all of it. Hosea, what's he got in these trunks? Rocks? Hugo, if we're lucky, he's got flagons of Roche's finest ale in some of them, or bottles of that lovely red from Blackberry Hill. The prince never travels without something drinkable handy. Hosea, not that we'll get to taste any of it. Hugo, I've worked for Willard going on 6 years now. Best job I've ever had. He treats me quite well. You'll see. Why, just the other day, Willard enters the courtyard. Willard, Hugo, I'd like to get on the road before sunset if you don't mind. Hugo, yes, my prince, indeed. You heard the prince. Get busy. Hosea, a prince is a prince and a pig's arse. Benjamin, quiet, Mr. Welk. Abraham approaches Willard, who is about to enter the carriage. Abraham, my lord, I'm Sergeant Abraham Mosley. I'm in charge of this lot here. The man over there is my corporal, Ben Tilley. Big mouth there is Welk. That's Lasher and Briggs. Willard, I don't need to know the names, Sergeant. I just want to get underway. Abraham, yes, my lord. Mr. Welk will be riding inside the carriage with you at the start. Willard climbs into the carriage, Welk climbing in behind him and closing the door. Abraham looks at Hugo, who climbs into position and takes the reins as the other climb into their horses, Welk's unmounted horse among them. Hugo nods and flicks the reins. Hugo, yeah! Exterior montage on the road, day. 2 horsemen are in front, 2 behind the carriage as it heads out, Welk's saddled but riderless horse trailing behind. The terrain gets gradually hillier and more wooded. They travel most of the day, finally arriving at a keep. Exterior Earl of Brookhaven Keep Gate, day. The travelers gather at the gate as the portcullis is being raised. While this is going on, Abraham rides over to Benjamin. Abraham, it's not far to Lorraine if you want to go visit your kin. Still got some daylight left. Benjamin, are you sure it'll be all right? Abraham, it'll be fine. We'll spend the night here inside these walls. Nothing to harm Willie here. Benjamin, good. I'll see you in the morning then. Abraham, see you then. Benjamin turns his horse and rides away as the portcullis is fully raised and the remaining riders and carriage go inside. Exterior farm of Larkin Hobbs, day. It's a small farm with a few chickens and goats and a field with crops growing and a horse. There's a barn and some storage shed, a house in the back. Working in the barn is Larkin Hobbs, 30. Benjamin rides up and climbs down off his horse as Larkin sees him, running over to embrace him roughly. Larkin, Benny, glory be, what a surprise. Benjamin, good to see you too, Lark. Where's Abigail? Larkin, she's gone to town, should be back any time. What brings you here? We heard you were involved in that bloody terrible battle out Hastings way. Benjamin, I was, but we won. Now I'm here escorting Prince Willie to the funeral at Lenox. Larkin, ah yes, Prince Willie, you say? What's he like? Benjamin, he's about what you'd expect. Typical royal, spoiled drunkard who thinks what is Willie. They both laugh as 2 women approach from the direction of town. One is Abigail Hobbs, 28. The other is Julia Colby, 20. They are carrying some items they'd purchased in Lorraine. Abigail, is that? Well, I'll be. She runs to Benjamin and embraces him. Look at you, my little brother. Come from the battle, all your arms and legs still attached. Saints be praised. Benjamin. Good to see you too, sister. Larkin. He's escorting Prince Willie to Charles's funeral. Abigail. I see. Well, let us take this inside and we'll make you some supper and you can tell us all about your adventures. Abigail goes inside and Julia approaches Benjamin. Julia. Hello, I'm Julia. I live up the road a bit. Benjamin. We've met, remember, when I visited last summer? I'm Abigail's brother. Julia. Oh, right. Thomas, isn't it? Benjamin. Ben. Julia. Oh, yes. Sorry, Ben. I'm terrible with names, especially for people I only see every year or so. Excuse me. Julia follows Abigail into the house. Larkin is trying not to burst out laughing and not being very successful. Benjamin. Oh, shut it. Larkin. I didn't say anything. Benjamin. Your face speaks volumes even when your mouth is closed. Interior, dining hall, Keep Brookhaven, night. Willard's quiet night has become quite noisy with a large, raucous party. There is food set out on a long table and minstrels are playing. Willard and Brookhaven, 40, along with several other local dignitaries, are feasting and drinking as Willard's bodyguard stands and watches. There is food for them, too, within easy reach. Brookhaven. As I said, I'm so sorry that we didn't have much time to prepare, but I only found out yesterday. Willard. No need to keep apologizing, Brookhaven. No need. Willard is watching a serving girl, 19, who is filling goblets for diners from the large wine bottle. She meets Willard gaze and smiles at him. He raises his goblet to her in a silent toast. Willard. No need at all. Hello, this is J. Franklin Evans. Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories That Suck. Did this story suck? Let me know.